Hey y'all, it's the Chocolate Mommy. Welcome back to my channel. Here's the inspiration for today because I am making a fake birthday cake. Got some newspaper to prevent any mess. I got a cake foam about this thick. Patch of paint for the fake frosting. Gloves so my hands don't get dirty. Piping bags with the tips already in them. Something to smooth out the fake frosting. Spray paint to add color along with this glitter. Now that that's out of the way, we can go ahead and get started. So I'm laying down my newspaper so that I'm not getting any styrofoam or any glitter or any of the patch of paint all over my floor, because that'll be the last thing that I want. Now that I have the cake foam out, I'm gonna take a Sharpie and I'm gonna trace the shape of a cake around it. I'm not gonna make it too perfect because I'm gonna end up cutting the shape out anyway. So I just needed to look like a heart just to get the gist of it. Finishing up, this is what it looks like. And I'm gonna go ahead and start trying to cut it out. I'm using my box cutter just to kind of get it started at the top, and I'm gonna end up having to use something else because obviously my box cutter is not gonna get it. So I'm using this bread knife to get down deeper into the foam. This was also difficult, but it was a lot easier than the box cutter, and before this I was trying to use a pair of scissors and obviously that was not working. Now we have our heart. It's not perfect, but that's just how it's going to be using the materials I'm using. I'm shaving down the sides to try and make it a little more smoother. As you can see, that is obviously lopsided, which is usually how my hearts look in real life when I draw them out. So I guess it worked out. That's how I wanted to look. Now it's all smooth and ready for the patch and paint. I'm gonna clean up really quick. The newspaper definitely came in clutch because the shavings from the cake foam was definitely gonna get all over my floor if I didn't have that down. Putting on nitro gloves because the container for the patch of paint says that you don't want to get this on your skin. It'll be difficult to get off, so I'm just taking safety precautions so that I don't have to deal with that later. Upon opening this, it's very strong. I do recommend wearing a mask to try and tone down the smell. The texture of it is very creamy. It looks like marshmallow fluff, which would work fine for me, so it should apply very smooth to my heart-shaped surface. I'm going to use this to scoop up some from the top and apply it on. I'm gonna apply it how you would a regular cake with frosting, basically taking some frosting and putting it on the cake and then putting more frosting on top of that frosting to make it smooth. Once again, it applies on really smooth, and this is exactly what I want. So I'm gonna go ahead and coat my entire surface. This is how it looked once I was done. I'm gonna go ahead and let it dry for maybe 5 minutes or a little more, just to be safe and make sure it's completely dry. Once it is dry, I'm going to go in with the piping bags and do the designs around the cake.
Five minutes later.
I'm back and the cake is completely dry. It's time for us to add the designs around it. I'm gonna take what's left of the patching paint and I'm gonna add it to the piping bag. So I'm using a star tip to start off, a large star tip. I don't know if that's gonna make a difference or anything because I don't really know how to pipe a cake, but this is all trial and error, which is like most of my life is trial and error. So we're gonna do the best that we can with what we have. The bag is now filled up to the borderline, so I'm gonna start around the base of the cake. I'm just doing some regular lines, I guess. Again, I've never decorated cake before, so I don't know any cake decorating terms. I'm just doing what I think looks best for right now, so bear with me, please. I'm adding more to the piping bag so that I can put more around the base. I don't really like how it looks right now, so I'm gonna add more to try and thicken it up. Well, after wasting my time on that, I'm just gonna go ahead and go on to the next piping bag with the next tip, which is a small star tip, and I'm gonna go around the top of the cake and try and do something to make it look better than what it's actually looking like now. Again, I am not a cake decorator by profession, so excuse me if I'm getting any terminology wrong or if I'm doing any of this wrong, because I'm sure that I am. So I'm putting little bullets around the perimeter of the top just so I know where I want my border to be. Border, is that the correct term? I don't know. So I'm using that as a guideline to connect my line, and the top looks good, but I'm gonna have to do something else about the bottom, most definitely. Like I've been mentioning before, I don't like how the bottom looks right now, so I'm completely scrapping it, and I'm gonna reuse this bit of patch paint that I used for the base to redo it and make it look better. I'm also doing this because I only bought one container of patch and paint, and I did not realize that with how much I was going to be using that it was not going to be enough, so I'm also trying to be very resourceful with what I have. Started reapplying it to the base and going in kind of circular motions as I was squeezing out the foundation, and it looked 10 times better than it did the first time. So if I were to do this again, which 9 times out of 10 I'm not doing this again, I would definitely go ahead with like a circular motion just to give it the look that I'm looking for, I guess.
I just wanna know if you my friend. I just wanna know if you pretending. I know I've been away.
Here is the cake all done with its quote-unquote frosting. It looks like it could be an actual cake if you're not really paying too much close attention to it. So now I'm gonna take this paint and start painting the top. It's kind of a gold color, but it's more like an orange gold. You're not going to be able to see it because I'm basically using this as a foundation for my glitter to stay down.
I recognize your fragrance. Hold up, you ain't never gotta say shit. And I know your taste is a little bit high maintenance.
Before the paint has a chance to dry, I'm going to add my glitter to it and make sure that I'm covering every spot that I can. Now I'm going to let this dry for maybe 5 to 10 minutes before I go on to spray painting. I've already started spray painting this side of the cake, but as you can see, I did take some paper and cover the top where the glitter was so that I wasn't getting spray paint on the glitter part. And I'm just gonna go around the entire cake, making sure that I get around the sides, at the border, and at the top. I want absolutely nothing to remain white. This is it after I was done, and it looks pretty good. Now I'm going to let it dry for a day and come back to it to add more later. It's actually a few days later, but I'm going to be adding these pearls around the perimeter. I'm adding these for extra design too, and I'm going to put words with this. So I'm taking the biggest pearls and I'm going to cut them off of this bracelet and just try to glue them around the base of the cake. I'm gonna take just a few for right now. I'm not sure how many I would need. I'm just gonna take a few off for right now so that I can have just enough to try and glue around the base. I'm taking my hot glue gun and just putting pearls in between these little circular borders that I have. I wasn't sure at first where I was gonna put them and how many I was going to need, but the amount of pearls that I took out seemed to be perfect for what I was trying to do. Now that I'm done with the bigger pearls, I have these smaller pearls that I need to figure out what I'm going to do with. I'm taking the black food coloring gel and I'm going to attempt to write some words onto the cake. Try and make it look a little more authentic, but I'm not even going to hold y'all. After the tea, things got messy. I had to try and redo this over and over again, and it became frustrating. So I had to do a whole different method of going about trying to do this. After too many failed attempts, I just started using the toothpick to try and write the words onto the cake, and it honestly gave me better results, and it went a lot quicker. Now I'm going to take my little cake toppers and add them onto the cake. This is what it looks like after I was done. This was also a very messy process, but it looks cute and I'm happy with the turnout. But now I need to go wash my hands. I'm back and my hands are clean. So now we're going to take these pearls and add them to the bottom. Here is the results after I've got through adding the smallest pearls. The cake is done, and that is it for this video. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will for sure catch you all in the next one. Bye.